Where are you? Have you got a seat?
Welcome, welcome. Can you hear out there? Welcome to the annual cricket show. This year it's Jack Russell, who will come up later. Jack Russell going into bat for the Lord's Taverners. Now, any Lord's Taverners here?
Yes.
Are there any Lord's Taverners here? Yes. Now, the idea of this every year is that we lay on this evening in order to make money for, well, mostly for me, but also for a dedicated charity. We started off the idea with Ian Botham years ago for his wonderful children's leukemia charity. Then we followed it with Freddie Flintoff. Then we had Tim Rice. Then we had Lord Ian Maclaurin. We had Mark Nicholas last year talking for hours. But this year we thought we'd go a bit more upmarket. It's a bit of a delayed start because we had to clear the mall for the tiger moth. But here he is. Now, he doesn't need an introduction as a cricketer. We all know him as the most stylish, entertaining cricketer ever. He is here because he's president of the Lord's Taverners. So please welcome David Gower.
Chris, that was absolutely extraordinary. Because, for the simple reason, those names you've not read out, listed in front of me, means that I'm about 10th in the batting rank. And as far as I remember, because, mind you, memory is a very distant thing, isn't it? As far as I remember, I'm not sure I ever slunk that low in the order before. And the fact that I'm following Mark Nicholas, who apparently has only just finished his speech from last year. Several of you will see have only just realised that it's amazing how you can just lose a year like that. Anyway, Mark, very eloquent. I'll do my best to follow suit. First of all, thank you very much indeed for the invitation. It's lovely to be here. Alongside the world's most famous artist. Where is he? He's so modest. He's hiding away as young Jack. First of all, can I just do the thing I really must do, which is explain the link to the Lord's Taverners. Very kind of Chris to take on Lord's Taverners this year as the chosen charity. I've been president for something like 6 years now, which is actually unprecedented, which is almost fun but not quite. Most of the reason for that was COVID for a couple of years. And then for some reason, they failed to find someone to take over, which is absolutely fine by me. I absolutely love the Lord's Taverners and everything they do. If you are unaware of what they do, I'll be brief, or brief enough. I'll be briefer than Mark Nicholas anyway. If you're unaware of what we do, 76 years ago now, some actors in the tavern stand at Lord's decided that cricket was a great thing. They were probably very, very drunk, but they were absolutely right in their judgment. And they decided there must be something they can do to help young people. So from that moment, the Lord's Taverners were born. For many, many years, we've been helping young, disabled, disadvantaged, underprivileged children make something out of their lives. And things have evolved a long, long way since those early days. In the old days, it was minibuses for schools with disabled children, millions of them. Nowadays, there are 3 or 4 different programs that help young people with, as I say, other disabilities. We've had this thing called table cricket, which is extraordinary, a table tennis table with walls, where young people in wheelchairs with disabilities can play cricket and have the most enormous fun and be very, very competitive. It's a way of getting young people involved in the sport, which people like me play, because we're fit and able and a little bit talented, and we get all the satisfaction of playing well at the highest level. But these kids, who will never ever aspire to those heights, get the same chance to be competitive and finish their finals at Lord's early in the summer. That's a brilliant thing to watch. And I could tell you so many stories about Lord's Taverners, the young people we help, young people who have been on the brink of very, very dark days, and we help the young people, you help the families. There are something like 33,000 plus children that are the beneficiaries of the Lord's Taverners money. So I could go on for a long, long time. But there are people in this room who do the hard work, and I always take my hat off to them. It's all about fundraising, it's all about where the money goes, and I'm happy to say that it works incredibly well. So some of the stories you hear about these young people are just mind-blowing, heartwarming, and every time you see one of our, for instance, our young ambassadors, you'll see someone who's come from a very dark place, who's been involved in cricket with the community, has learned to enjoy the game, be part of the game. There's a guy called Charlie, who I see a lot of. I'm going to mention his name, who was in his own little world 10 years ago. He's just had his 18th birthday, and he celebrated it at Arundel, one of the great cricket grounds in this country, where we were with the Lord's Taverners team, including Charlie, 2 or 3 weeks ago. He has gone from being an isolated, young, very nasty positioned person to a charming young man who can speak in public, who plays his cricket with us, who, I mean, he's an example to us all. And his mum, who is also lovely, says that she, for instance, as the guardian of that family, has got the best out of him, or we have helped get the best out of him, and that helps not just Charlie, but her siblings, husband, the entire family benefits from a programme that gets someone like Charlie involved in cricket through Lord's Taverners. So whatever you raise tonight, and I haven't quite seen tears yet, I think I need to up the ante. If I could just shed a few tears of my own and say how much I love being part of this, maybe we just help raise a bit of money. Yeah, sell a few paintings, that sort of stuff. Look after Chris first, of course, that's important. These places cost money. Now, part of my duties, having sold you the Lord's Taverners, part of my duties are to... I recognise that man. He used to play for Somerset. Well, so he says, Specker Archer. Not Joffre. Jeffrey, are you related? No, that's right. That is the worst joke you'll hear tonight. Anyway, welcome, Jeffrey. We have started with that. I'm so sorry. Is he doing the auction? I've forgotten. He normally does the auction, Jeffrey. No, he's not. No auction tonight. Just money will do. Money will do. Just a few words about what sort of leads people like me to these places. Some years ago, apparently, I played cricket for England. Some years ago, apparently, I even captained England, which I've always said was a bit of a loose term. And if you look at my record, 32 test matches as apparently England captain, you'll notice there's a few losses, as well as a few triumphs, but most of the losses came against a side called the West Indies, who, if you had a sort of top trumps thing in the 80s, you would work out very quickly that they were better than us. So I'm not going to talk about them. The thing that unites us all in the cricket world, or certainly in England and the other, how do I describe it? I'm trying to describe Australia without being rude about it. The other country that has been part of cricket's history for many, many years, centuries even, Australia. So the great thing about us, England versus Australia, the Ashes, born 1882, on the back of a horrible defeat at the Oval by those horrible colonialists. From that sprang the Ashes. From that sprung the donation of the little urn that sits at Lord's to the Honourable Ivor Bligh, captain of England, the thing that we all believe is the absolute most important trophy in the world of cricket. So, if everything else fails, I mean, for instance, if you are losing 5-0 to West Indies in 1984, if you win against Australia in 1985, people forgive you, don't they? Sometimes grudgingly, especially the Australians themselves, but they forgive you. So I have to live on the back of that. Now, there is one story that seems to crop up time and time again, which involved, because I'm not one of those people. The good news is this. Has Geoffrey Boycott done this?
No.
No.
I couldn't afford him.
Very true. One of the stories related to Geoffrey apparently is this was filtered into my mind many, many years ago when he first toured the West Indies with England. He was in the habit of not paying taxi drivers because he was Geoffrey Boycott. And he would use the great Geoffrey Boycott. You must be honoured to have me in your camp. So he went on one tour, I think it was here, I'm not going to do the years. He went back there 4 or 5 years later. and tried to hail a cab in Port of Spain in Trinidad, and the driver refused to take him. And Jeff said, "What's wrong? Why won't you take me?" He said, "Well, you haven't paid me from 5 years ago." Jeffrey was... I played my first test match in 1978 in a side that contained Jeffrey Boycott, who is, dare I say it, one of the finest we've ever produced. So again, so he tells me. In all honesty, you know, we have very similar career statistics. And I was told about Jeffrey that he had this habit, if he was going well, batting nicely, that he would want to keep the strike. So beware around about the 5th or 6th ball of the over, in case he wanted to have one to get the strike back, and you weren't quite ready for it, or it's going straight to the field. Lo and behold, we're out there, nudges it towards point, straight towards point, and he calls yes. I was alert to this, said no. Luckily, no one got run out. We met in the middle of the pitch. We met in the middle of the pitch. And Jeffrey's next words to me were, "If you're not going to run mine, I'm not going to run yours." He of course denies it fervently. The other thing he used to say to me, actually, can I say, in all honesty, I'm very fond of Jeffrey. Huge respect for Jeffrey. He is now in his sort of senior years, still obviously loves the game, still goes to Heading and all sorts of places. But the other thing he used to say to me was, "If we had your ability in my brains, we'd be one hell of a player." And I'm still not quite taking him up on the offer. I'm prepared to compromise. No, the story that always comes up, actually, I'm going to say it. So England, Australia, Ashley stories, countless stories about what happens on the field. You can read wisdom for those. The story that always comes up is the Tiger Moth, which was alluded to by Chris a little earlier, which I know Jack is going to ask me a couple of questions about it later. So we're in Queensland, 1990-91, England captain's Gower Beach. We're 2-0 down, which is about normal in the Test series. We've got again, actually quite good compared to recent results. We're 2-0 down, but we're still in the series. We're okay, we've still got 2 games left. We're playing Queensland, a place called Carrara on the Gold Coast. And for 2 or 3 days, it's all going rather well. But I have noticed that across the other side of the road is a little airstrip doing scenic trips with 2 Tiger Moths, 1930-something, 1940-something Tiger Moths. Scenic trips to the Gold Coast at 75 Australian dollars a go. So in 1991, that's about 20p. So it's one of those things. I've always been a believer, if opportunity is there, it's a shame not to take it. So I made a very good 13 in the morning on day 3, smacked one straight at cover, went off for lunch, wondered what to do in the afternoon. Our captain, Mr. Gooch, had given orders to 2 of England's finest, Alan Lamb and Robin Smith, born in Langermanweg and Durban respectively. And their orders were to bat through the afternoon. So I had 2 hours at leisure. I could either watch them or indulge myself. And with Johnny Morris, born on the same day, 1st of April, we hatched a plan. We sidled off to the airstrip. I had to borrow money. The problem was I had to borrow money first. Now, we used to have something called a meal allowance. So the manager of the Troll, called Peter Lush, would hand out, say, 120 Aussie dollars every week, on which we would feed ourselves and indulge ourselves in a bit of Australian wine. So obviously we had to subsidise that a bit more than normal. So I borrowed, well, not borrowed, took the money. It was my money. And we sidled off the airstrip, had a word with Bruce, because Bruce was the pilot. As you know from Monty Python's days, everyone in Australia, to save confusion, he is called Bruce. He really was called Bruce, I promise you. We had a word, waited half an hour, donned the Biggles kit, and we took the air. The first instruction to Bruce was to do a low-level run through the lights at the ground, straight down the line of the pitch. Robin Smith took to shoot us down as Gray Nichols, lovely batsman. Sorry, did we? Yeah, that didn't work either. We did 2 runs with the low-level run straight through the lights, and we thought we still got 15 minutes left, so let's do the beaches as well. And there were more interesting sights on the beaches than there were on the middle of the trees. We landed, and unfortunately there were things called long lenses and cameramen. And so one of our tour cameramen, we got the pictures as we landed at the airstrip. That's kind of fine, no problem, no qualms about that. It was quite an innocent prank. Except at the end of the day, there were 2 cameramen. One, Adrian's got the pictures. The other one, a great friend of mine called Graham Morris, needed the pictures, so the other half a dozen newspapers back here got the story. He said, would you come back to the airstrip? I said, yeah, of course. So I donned shorts and t-shirt again, and I had to lie egregiously to Graham Gooch. I said to Graham, I'm going for a run. No, this is the extraordinary thing. We played cricket alongside each other for 15 years. At no stage ever in those 15 years did I volunteer to go for a run before a game. During a game, obviously only when necessary, and certainly not at the end of a game, where there are other things much more important to be doing, which involve dinner and wine and all that sort of stuff. So, for some reason he believed me. Anyway, he went off. At the same time as we were doing the photographs of Graham, the press having a bit of an interview with management. Management, you can hear the sounds of jaws dropping from some yards away. Management already started to take what's known as a dim view. I didn't really find out about this because I went straight from the airstrip, got dressed again, straight out for supper. Came back nice and early, around about midnight. Now there was some paper. Well, judging by the stories of the last couple of days, that's what's known as fucking early. So I'll come back in a moment. There's some paperwork to negotiate behind my hotel door. For Peter Lush, tour manager. First one says, come and see me as soon as you get in. Next one says, come and see me now. Next one says, come and see me immediately, 2 exclamation marks. Final one says, sorry, come and see me 8:30 in the morning. Signed, Peter Lush, tour manager. 8:30 in the morning, knocking on the manager's suite. This is Australia, remember, nice hotel on the Gold Coast. Simon and Mrs. into the manager's suite. There's the lounge area, bedroom tucked away over there. Being Australia, there is, of course, a bar. Again, that is law in Australia, a bar in a woman's hotel. If you've got a bar, you've got bar stools. One of them is positioned in the middle of the room. Instinct tells me this is mine. Up against me are Peter Lush, tour manager, Mickey Stewart, England team manager, Graham Gooch, England captain, Alan Lamb, England vice captain. 3 of them looking deadly serious, Lammy pissing himself. Again, instinct tells you this might not go entirely well. We have a longish discussion. It involves me saying I'm really sorry if this has caused any offence, just a harmless little thing, spur of the moment stuff, no damage done. And we had a long discussion about sort of team ethics, senior players setting the example, things like fielding practice and training, which I have no idea about. I pointed out that at this stage of the tour I was averaging 50, 200s, one in Melbourne, one in Sydney. I was doing okay. Why don't you ask the other 15 about their motivation training and all the rest of it? Unfortunately, these things don't go well. We finished the meeting, we moved on. We finished the game, we won the game against Queensland and moved to Adelaide. We had 3 or 4 days before the next test match in Adelaide at the beautiful Adelaide Oval. In the meantime, there are telexes and pigeons floating between Adelaide and London while they decide what the most severe possible penalty could be for this egregious crime. Technically leaving the ground without permission, which works on 2 very different levels. Eventually I get called into the manager's suite again. The verdict is delivered. It's a £1,000 fine. That's basically 1/8 of a Jack Russell painting, if you're lucky. And I mean just the little ones. Nothing new. In fact, just to, can I interrupt? You've done one of me there. It's only 8 inches high. I mean, it's a little rush job at the end. Anyway, here, sorry, I interrupt. Well, more of that later. So I get called in. The verdict's due, £1,000 fine, probably about 1/10 of our tour fee for that winter, 4 months in Australia. And I asked, well, how do I pay this? He said, well, the £1,000 fine will be deducted at source, at Lords, from your contract fee. I said, do I pay tax on this? He said, tax will also be deducted at source from Lords, from your contract fee. He said, do you mind if I pay cash? Absolutely true. Just done a little book. I've just been involved in just a signed a contract, little book on the Ashes tour that year, on the Ashes series. Basically, it went like this: pictures for the home audience, the Australians. Just to be clear, pictures, no words. Words for those that can read. And I've done a few words. The exact fee, $2,500. Exchange rate perfect. So handle the cash across. And you hope that that is the end of it. This is where you agree to be friends for life, go back to the next test match, score another 100, everyone's happy, maybe win a game, maybe keep yourselves in the series, all that sort of stuff is in my mind. 2 days later, we start this next test match, the 4th out of 5 in the series. And we have a good start. Graham Gooch, captain, bats first. He's not out first day, a bit of rain, so I'm not required day 1. Day 2, the wicket goes down halfway through the morning session. I'm never, ever more determined. Helmet, gloves, bat, everything is in the right order. And you have to walk down through the members area of the Adelaide Oval there, so the members are obviously sort of, they know their stuff, they're keen. You walk down and you head towards the field. I was only slightly distracted when on the PA system the man played those magnificent men. Now, there's a terrible, sad end to the story. I played the worst grid of my life for the next hour. I know, it's a shame, it's a horrible shame. Got out to the last ball before lunch. It's a tragic moment. The commentary from Tony Gregg and Bill Laurie is epic. Scathing, but epic. Anyway, that's what happens in between events in Australia. Now, we can't stay here all night, can we? We need Jack.
This is your life moment. You haven't seen him for 35 years, but here he is, Jack Russell.
You can have a hug. He's just muttered the word captain. Well, you were. I mean, you were my. You know, we gave you a chance. Unfortunately, it was possibly the worst Ashes series of all time, wasn't it? 1989, where I mean, I'm proud of the triumphs. 85 to stand at the Oval with the Ashes in your hand is a lovely thing. 1989. Despite having the world's finest keeper in our ranks.
It was tough.
Tough, is that an understatement?
Yes, an understatement, right? Yeah, it was. You were my first series captain, so I always call you series first full series captain. So I didn't call you DG then, captain. That's what you did in those days. Protocol, but our paths actually crossed quite a few years earlier than that when you were playing at Leicestershire. The first time I played against you, you scored a beautiful 100. Not beautiful from Gloucester's point of view, but beautiful for Leicester. And I did manage to drop you, top corner, it's that side, and allow you to get your 100. That's it, you got it. But unfortunately, you didn't get man of the match, which is a rare occasion that somebody scoring 100 didn't get man of the match. But at the end of that day's play, you could see how distraught I was, even though we won. And you came and spoke to me. I couldn't believe it. The great man himself came, great fellow left-hander. I apologise for that. Great fellow that came and said hello, and it just gave me such a lift for a young, grubby-haired, spotty-faced, scruffy-looking. Something's never changed. But I've never forgotten that. So now I can say thank you. And our paths crossed over the years playing county cricket. Do you remember that game at Cheltenham? We were playing the Sunday League at Cheltenham, yeah. And the ground's underwater, it's 4 o'clock, no chance of playing. There's a very famous marquee at Cheltenham Festival called Jawflex, main sponsor, Gloucester County Cricket Club.
The man who hosted us?
It was Roger Moore. Not 007, but his name was Roger Moore. And so it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Champagne was good, wasn't it?
Very nice.
Yeah. Pims. Oh, Pims. I didn't know. I didn't partake. So that's why I'm left off the hook. I'm pleased I didn't partake because at 6 o'clock and the ground was underwater at 5. The game's going to be called like they called this game. Got to be called off.
I called it off.
You called it off.
Saturday.
Well, you called it off at lunchtime. And then suddenly at 6:10, we're out there. And I would say out of 22 players, 2 were sober, I would think. Maybe 3, maximum. But you came out to bat in front of me, and I swore at you, because there's this big slope at Cheltenham. So the further down the hill you played, the bigger the slope. Well, the lads that came out were a little bit... DG, the wicket's that way. Can you please take... And you would not stand still, so you're playing balls. And I'm shouting at you, will you bloody well stand still, please, right? I can't see a bloody thing, but you were there, like this. And then you just went, oh, hang on, and then you just went, poof, 4, beautiful. Poof. Beautiful. Do you remember that?
I do.
You can actually remember. Can you actually remember that moment?
I can. I mean, you've put the context pretty accurately. Yeah, we've been drinking Pimm's with a little shot of vodka in it for about 4 hours. Lovely cold buffet, all the rest of it. Umpires arrive saying, we think, what?
Yeah.
Got to be joking. Anyway, I remember sending my vice-captain Nigel Bryars out to toss. I wasn't confident about that. And I also remember the context of the game. We said 20 very pissed people, 2 probably sober. And there were catches, simple catches going in the air, weren't there? Where people would dive the wrong way.
My paintings, the ball's over there. Diving that way. It's true. This is absolutely true.
We won the game. I mean, I think we're about 22, that's from memory. I have to look it up in wisdom. We're about 22. It's the only game I played a reverse sweep in because I had to be in that state to do something like that in that year. We only won for one simple reason. 77 out of 10 overs.
Yeah, it was.
You had a guy called Andy Stobbold.
That's right.
Teacher, opening batsman, sober. He was 40 not out at the end of the 10 overs.
Forward defence.
Yeah. And the only reason you didn't win the game is the guys at the other end couldn't give enough of the strike to him. So we won the game. Our travelling continued. The bus had come down from Leicester. They were as bemused as anyone. Off they went home. We went back into Duraflex tent and took the girls out. Sorry, go on.
We had players in the wrong changing rooms. I mean, the players went to get ready in the opposition's changing room. One of your players got a broken nose for one of our players practicing hookshot and broke Butcher's nose. Do you remember? It's true. It's absolutely true.
Anyway,
Sorry.
just in case you're worried about the drinking culture in 1985. It's a perfectly viable excuse, isn't it? The game should have been on. Really, Murph Kitchen and probably 2 men in white. When you see 2 men in white coats at 5:30 in the afternoon on a Sunday, and you're completely lubricated, it makes you wonder how long they're going to lock you up for. What do you have to do to prove sanity? Anyway, I'm glad that's the highlight of your career.
No, the highlight of my career, one of them, I had the pleasure of batting with you a few times. 2 left-handers, different ends of the scale of ability, technique. One hand, beautiful, graceful, effortless, strokes it. On the other hand, ugly, horrible, squirts it everywhere. Horrible to look at. I'll let you decide which one. But on a serious note, I had probably 2 or 3 times. I think I batted with you at Sydney when you got the 100. Certainly in the second innings when we were setting the game up, we both had to get on with it. You were getting on with it quicker than I was. And to stand 20 yards away from this guy, it's difficult to find the words, but it was just unbelievable, priceless, really. I haven't got your. See, I struggled batting after you. I'm now struggling to speak after you.
Give a big hand for David and Jack. This is your moment. Who's going to ask a question? Who wants the first question? Anybody ready with a question?
Would anyone like to hear the end of Jack's story?
Here we go.
Yes. Think of a question.
We're taking a question.
David, 3 magnificent batsmen, yourself, Alan Lamb and the judge. Never saw you bowl in any competitive cricket, or the 3 of you. Could you not bowl? What was he like bowling in the nets, Jack?
Well, that never happened, did it? No, that's a waste of time.
I'm a batsman, you just...
Didn't do any of that.
Someone in this room, only half an hour ago, told me he just, or not just, but has seen on YouTube evidence of my 1 test wicket, which was in India, in Kanpur, at the end of a very dull test match on a very flat pitch. So, being a clever, thinking individual, I took the pitch out of the equation and bowled what some people describe as a lob. Benno loves the word dropper. Dropper was the original term back in the 1800s, but one that basically is a parabolic delivery that arrives at roughly head height where the batsman is. It takes a lot of skill, actually, I want to say. It takes a lot of skill, because you can easily get the radar wrong. And the two batsmen concerned at the time were a fellow called Kiri Kamani, 5'8", wicketkeeper, who was struggling with this. I had him in all sorts of trouble. The other guy, the keepers, it would have been like bowling at Jack, to be honest. Same sort of height, same sort of genius. The other guy was a fellow called Kapil Dev. Now, he could play a bit. Dare I say, one of the world's great all-rounders of all time, certainly in the mid-80s. And Kapil was having none of this. So he decided that this ball needed to leave Kanpur and land somewhere near Delhi, which is 700 miles away. But unfortunately he miscued it. I think it was Grandilly who, poor old Grandilly, bless him, who had bowled for 4.5 days on this pitch, never got it above stump height. It was the flattest thing of all time, the dullest draw of all time. And he had a decision to make while the ball was in the air. Shall I catch it, do a decent thing, or shall I pretend I've not seen it? Which would also be equally decent. It was pretty much a 50-50 thing. But he caught it, therefore it is in the book. I have a test wicket, and it is none other than Kapil Dev. Kapil doesn't talk about it a lot. Anyway.
Does anybody else want to ask a question?
Yeah, Chris.
Yes.
I talked to my son's generation, I think they're called Gen Z, about cricket. And they say, oh no, cricket is a posh game. It's only for gentlemen. Nobody else plays cricket.
Then we've got the poshest cricketer ever to answer that. What do you say about Gen Z?
No, I don't think that's true. Because I came from a comprehensive school, and the pathways now are so much more better organised. Women's cricket, ladies' cricket has flourished so much. I go and paint village cricket grounds, and I see a lot of young ladies playing cricket in men's first teams. So I'm heartened at the fact that village cricket, club cricket, I think it's thriving. I'm seeing it from my own eyes. And a lot of these clubs have hundreds and hundreds of kids playing cricket. Whether that was the same in the past, I'm not sure. It might, you have to work your way through, but I think the opportunities are still there. I don't think it's a posh game, is it, Captain?
No. It's an intelligent game.
Can I say, you've led me happily back to the Lord's Taverners. Because one of the great things about those 33,000 young people that we help, and especially things like the Wickets programme, the Super Ones programme, is girls and boys from absolutely any background. Absolutely, there are no bars, no barriers. And one of the reasons that, again, just to kind of reiterate, one of the reasons I'm so happy to be in this position as president is you see each and every one of these stories, and you see the opportunities. So, us at Taverners, chance to shine. Again, I shouldn't be necessarily promoting them, but they do similar things with their young people in very interesting places, and the opportunities now are there for all. So any concept, the only thing I would say is if you need to play or want to play the game seriously, it gets expensive. So cricket bats can cost you ridiculous amounts of money nowadays. But again, if you have the support of the community, of the club, there are ways in where you don't have to buy your own cricket bats. And there's certainly plenty of opportunities. So I deny the charge, madam. I deny the charge. Yeah. Yes, the opportunities are there. Yeah.
Question for both of you. Who was the most difficult, not necessarily the best, the most difficult bowler you've ever batted against, you've ever kept against?
Well, the best I played against is Malcolm Marshall. Of all those West Indies fast bowlers, the top trumps thing from half an hour ago, Holding, Garner, Croft, Roberts, Marshall, and several others would have made it into any test team nowadays. And trying to decide who was the best of them was never easy. But when I eventually put it into a list, into a book actually, Malcolm Marshall comes out on top of them because he was clever, he was quick, he had a real bowler's brain, in many ways of getting you out. So I just thought he was the real deal out of all of them. So Malcolm is top of the list for me. And the spinners, I didn't get back into the team again in time to play against Shane Warne. Singly the finest exponent of leg spin bowling ever. So I can tell you with a straight face that if I played against him, I'd have smacked him absolutely everywhere. But I did play against a fellow called Abdul Qadir in Pakistan, who was the same in many, many ways. All the same variations, leg spinner, two googlies, top spinner. Didn't call it a zooter, it was a flipper. So it had all the same varieties, it just didn't have the bullshit that went with it. Yeah, much though I love Shane, miss him terribly. You know, the Shane presence, the aura, was the absolute weapon for him, whereas Abdul just had the skill. Who did you
Keep against.
fear as a keeper?
Yeah.
Firstly, I'd second that entirely, because Malcolm Marshall was so clever. He didn't just bowl at 90 miles an hour, he swung it both ways up well whenever he wanted to bowl it. So he was unbelievable, and not the world's tallest guy either, for a fast bowler, one of the shorter guys, but he was just so smart.
Who was the best you kept against?
Best I kept against. The best bowler,
Yeah.
probably Courtney Walsh, who played with me at Gloucestershire for many a year, too many years than I can have mentioned. And he was so. If we once played a game at Leicester, you weren't there; they would be finished. And it was the last day of the game. He was captain. He bowled 29 consecutive overs to try and win the game, apart from one where he went and bowled the other end. So the guy had to bowl one over, and he went and bowled the other. He bowled virtually the whole day to try and win the game. And that guy, him and Ambrose together, were just unbelievable to play against as well in later years for the West Indies. Yeah, but Courtney, he's such a nice guy. He would do anything for me. You'd play against Courtney forever.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to put it there. Let's just remind ourselves why we're here this evening. Will you please just put your hands up, the people who are officials from Lord's Tavern? Yes. Have you spotted all these people there? Now, you can go and talk to them and leave the proceeds of your house in well, if there's anything left after the Labour government have been in one. They are there for you. Have a chat to them and give them lots of money. Thank you, David. Thank you, Jack.